No, no, seriously, that was my reaction. It really was. Yeah, I loved that the crowd chanted "Finally, finally" at the end of that match. I mean, damn right, finally. Good God, I've been waiting 3+ years to see that. I mean, the match itself was great. Overbooked, yeah. But this was one of those incredibly rare occasions when TNA overbooked the crap out of a match and it actually worked. Because what hype there was for this match pretty much focused on the question of will the Guns finally become tag team champions for the first time ever? Will they do it? Will they do it? So before the match even started, the announcers kept hitting that bullet point over and over and over again. So you kind of knew they were going to win, right? But when all the false finishes started, that's when I started to doubt that just a little bit. I mean, first, when they did like the beer in the eyes, and I was like, ah, shit, this again? Good God, they do this all in every freaking beer money match ever. And then with the double pin attempt that you knew was coming as soon as there were 2 referees in the ring. And then with the match getting restarted at the end on top of everything else. I mean, it didn't color my enjoyment of the match, and it was enough to put just the sliver of doubt in my mind that the Guns might not pull this off. So, in my opinion, this all worked. The Guns win the tag titles, finally. The only problem was this wasn't built up to enough. I mean, this was actually one of the lesser hyped matches for this pay-per-view. The Guns never got to cut any promos beforehand about how winning the titles would be like the culmination of a 4-year journey for them. Had this been built up to more, had Sabin and Shelley not vanished from TV for weeks after they won the #1 contendership 2 months ago, this would have felt more momentous than it did. I mean, the Machine Guns deserved to have this title win get put over more, but fuck it. It was still a title win that was long deserved. Hallelujah. Doug Williams versus Brian Kendrick. This is why I said it was a mistake to put these 2 particular guys in the Ultimate X. I said it on here, I said it in the blog, a couple other places I think. And here's the thing about this match. First of all, it was too short to be a proper Ultimate X, and yet at the same time, I actually thought it was dragging a lot. Some people may disagree with me on this, but in my opinion, in order to have a really great Ultimate X, you need at least 3 guys in the match. Because there's spots you can do with 3 guys that you just can't do with 2 guys. And this match really would have benefited a lot from having Jeremy Buck in it, which is why I said they should put him in there. I mean, especially considering the fact that Doug Williams and Brian Kendrick are not high flyers. I mean, which really should have caused management to put the brakes on this thing in the first place, because, yes, while technically it was a good match, by Ultimate X standards, it was really unremarkable. I mean, they only went up to the cables once. I mean, out of the 20 Ultimate X's, I wouldn't rank this in the top 10 and not even the top 15. I mean, people have certain expectations for a match like this, and I think most of us knew going in that these 2 guys were just not going to deliver that. And to have it end in submission is just going to piss people off. I mean, if they really wanted to put Doug Williams over as a heel, they should have had him take down the X and then brag about how he beat the high flyers at their own game. Ha 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 ha. You know, this is just like when Team 3D climbed a ladder to bring down the X. It just shouldn't have happened that way. AJ Styles, Kazarian versus Samoa Joe and Rob Terry. Holy shit, one of these things is not like the others. I mean, how did Rob Terry get into this match? Seriously, he hasn't been on Impact in weeks. And he came out to no reaction at all, by the way, which really should tell you everything you need to know right there. I mean, the match was good when Terry wasn't in the ring, not so much when he was. He ate the pin, thankfully. Didn't like the interference so much, but it's good that Desmond Wolfe isn't done in this storyline like I thought he was. He should be in that Fortune group, so if this is about him trying to get back in, that's cool. Kind of surprised me that the heels went over here. I guess they're going to draw out this AJ Flair Kazarian thing a while longer, and that's fine. You know, Rob Terry had no place in this match, but since he was only there to get pinned, I guess I can live with it. Brother Ray versus Jesse Neal versus Brother Devon. Don't have a lot to say about this one. I don't think anyone expected this match to be very good, and it wasn't. This was not pay-per-view quality, but that wasn't the real problem. The booking here was classic Russo. They announce a certain type of match, they advertise a certain type of match, and then at the pay-per-view they have a swerve that turns it into something totally different. TNA does this way too often. I'm not saying you shouldn't try to swerve the fans, but if you advertise something, you should deliver it. If you announce a triple threat, don't give us a singles match with the third guy locked in a dressing room. I see what they were trying to do with the tease that Devon would turn on Jesse, but this still bugged me. Madison Rayne versus Angelina for the Knockouts title. The match was okay while it lasted, nothing more than that, and the finish didn't do them any favors. Now, the writers didn't go for the obvious finish of Lacey or Velvet turning on Madison, and while that would have been predictable as all hell, at least it would have been logical. Instead, they had to bring back Tara for some ungodly reason, which made no sense in the first place since Madison ended her career a few months ago. And why didn't they reveal her? The referee assumed it was Velvet or Lacey and then awarded the title to Angelina, so why didn't she just take her helmet off? She could have saved Madison's title. This was a stupid way for the championship to change hands. I didn't like it at all, but at least they got the belt off Madison Rayne finally, and that needed to happen. Let this be the end of this ridiculous notion of pushing Madison Rayne as some badass career killer. That was never going to work. Are you kidding me? Madison Rayne wasn't even credible as the champion. She wasn't equipped to pull off that type of character. Nobody bought into her in that spot, and she never should have won the title in the first place. Steel cage match, Matt Morgan versus Hernandez. Ordinarily, big man versus big man doesn't work that well unless you've got like really athletic, agile big man, which these guys are, and you saw a good display of that here. We saw some cool spots with Hernandez doing the springboard up to the turnbuckle into the missile dropkick on Morgan on the ropes when he was crouched up there, doing the splash off the top of the cage, which was really cool. A little sloppy at certain points, yeah, but I liked this match. The only problem I had was that it was a little slow at times because of Morgan. Not that his cocky heel mannerisms are bad or anything, but I just thought he played them up a little too much instead of focusing on the action. You know, he should have picked it up in there a little bit. Also, the handcuffs at the end just felt like overbooking to me. I mean, the breaking the handcuffs thing has been done a lot lately, and it just doesn't mean anything when someone does that anymore. Good match otherwise, though. Jay Lethal versus Ric Flair. Despite the excellent build-up, I really wasn't looking forward to this one that much, and actually it turned out better than I expected. I mean, Flair is pretty limited these days, but I thought Jay Lethal did a great job carrying him. He had the crowd behind him. I think this could turn out to be a real breakout match for Jay Lethal if they follow up on it the right way, like they didn't do with his match when he got that win over Kurt Angle back in the day. And TNA seem really high on him right now, so I think they'll do it right this time. My one concern is that they're trying way too hard to make him seem like the good guy. You know, I mean, that thing at the end with the, "Hey, Mom, I did it!" Yeah, that was just going overboard. I mean, what were they trying to pay homage to the Rocky movies or something? That would only work if Lethal had been the underdog in this match, and he really wasn't, despite the writers' attempts to make him look that way. Kurt Angle versus the Pope. Honestly, you don't need me to talk about this one. We all know what Kurt Angle delivers. We know what he brings. We know that he brings out the best in every opponent he gets in the ring with, and this was no different. It was just like his match with Kaz last month. A great competitive contest with both guys looking credible. Kurt Angle gets the win, but Pope still gets put over because he took Angle to the limit and earned his respect. It wasn't overbooked because it didn't need to be. And stuff like this is why this storyline continues to be so good. Rob Van Dam versus Ken Anderson versus Jeff Hardy versus Abyss for the world title. Solid match that ideally should have taken place at Slammiversary instead of that crap with RVD and Sting. I have no complaints about the match while it lasted, but it ended way too early. I mean, they had over 15 minutes left when they went to the finish, so the match felt anticlimactic. Notice how the crowd completely deflated as soon as the match was over? And by the time they went off the air, the crowd was dead. Good match, but it needed to be like 5 minutes longer. And taking everything into account, TNA really need to stop this business of putting 9 matches on their pay-per-views, because when you do that, some of the matches end up not being as long as they need to be in order to be pay-per-view quality. And that was a problem with the Ultimate X, it was a problem with the Knockouts title match, it was a problem with the main event. And one other thing, it's really gonna bug me if they reveal the identity of this mystery assailant that tried to help Madison Rayne on Impact. That should have happened on this pay-per-view. Everyone's going to know it was Tara in a few days anyway, and by the time they reveal it, it's not going to be a surprise. The writers have never learned this lesson. The important stuff needs to be built up to on Impact and paid off on pay-per-view, not the other way around. Like, for example, if I were running some type of angle on my videos, I would pay it off on a pay-per-view review like this one. Unless it were some sort of parody / TNA style angle, in which case it would be paid off in an Impact review where it wouldn't mean nearly as much. Well, see ya.